Hey everyone, and welcome to the fourth episode of ICC Interesting Conversation Corner. Today we have on former congressional candidate in the first district, Jolie Faren King. Lovely to meet you. How you doing?
Hi, it's lovely to meet you too. I am doing all right with my now a little bit more free time.
Yeah, every second counts. Jeez. Getting right into the questions. We try to keep it interesting questions here, not like, oh, where are you from? What got you into politics? A little bit more insightful, so that way it's interesting, and both I, you, and the audience actually all collectively learn something. So first
Okay.
question, what was your favorite and least favorite part of campaigning to get on the ballot?
Oh, I feel like it is the most stereotypical answer that my favorite part was genuinely just getting out and talking to people and being motivated to be in the community. I have made genuinely some amazing friends that are going to be lifelong friends after this. And I I will treasure the hope that other people gave me forever. It's gonna really get me through all the BS I'm sure we're still in for. Um, the thing I liked least was the social media aspect. Um, just partly because my day job is in social media, so I would get home and the last thing I wanted to do was make TikToks and posts and check Instagram, Facebook, and all the things. There's also, some not kind people on social media and a lot of bots. So that was unfortunate. Um, that was the part I didn't like, but I think it was crucial to the campaign. So
Yeah, yeah. My favorite insult I've gotten so far was someone calling me a witch. And I'm like, thanks for the compliment.
yeah, that's fabulous.
I'm like, little do you know.
Uh,
You
yeah, I
mentioned
don't.
book recommendations in your video about getting on the ballot. What would your number one book suggestion for progressives be to read?
Oh my God. Honestly, it's just going to be the same book recommendation that I give everyone all the time, and that's the Animorph series,
Mm.
which sounds like a very out of left field answer, and it is. But one, I think the politics of the books are very good. Um, they are for a middle grade audience, so they don't get into this is how politics works in that, but they have a very strong, clear moral compass, but they also question what is right and wrong. How do you try to do good even in bad situations when there are these no-win situations? How do you work with others for the greater good? And they're also entertaining and fun. And I know my aunt, who has been involved in activism and politics much longer than me, when she was coming to me and venting some of her fears and worries and wasn't sure how to process things, I was like, so this book series, I think you need it. So they're a good balance of both. They get you thinking about things, but they can also help you stop thinking about things.
Oh yeah, oh gosh, that is an out of left field answer, but I actually freaking love it. That reminds me of I saw it a lot like in bookstores in elementary school and stuff like that on our library day and stuff like that. That and Goosebumps were like the big two things amongst everybody, especially like elementary and middle school. Those were the two big series.
Yes, I wish I could be like, well, I read them as a child and I just have this deep nostalgic love of them. And the answer is no. I read them in grad school and they turned out to be just absolutely phenomenal. And I don't know, I wanted to pick something I know that no one else is going to give you that answer. So,
That's fair. To be fair, I didn't get into Animorphs until like 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm actually even after you. I at the time was mostly into Goosebumps, like everybody else, and Percy Jackson. It was the one book that we got assigned that I enjoyed and read the rest of the series afterwards. We were assigned Lightning Thief in sixth grade. That was really fun.
oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I definitely did not get anything as fun assigned as Lightning Thief. My big ones in middle school, I was obsessed with the 39 Clues,
Mm.
and then Hunger Games. Those were my two big ones. And then the series that shall not be named, that was fun at the time. But
Yeah, yeah. A Song of Ice and Fire, right? I'm kidding.
Exactly. That's
What's one vote by Jonathan Jackson you wish more constituents in the first district knew about?
oh, I think, I'm gonna pick a good one of his long, like from the beginning of the whole issue, support of Palestine. He has been good on the issue from the beginning and one of the few Democrats that have been. And I I ran against him because yes, I do have issues with him, but I don't want to pretend he's some horrible monster. I think especially now, I am hoping he leans into his virtues and his strengths since he's probably going to be in the seat. And all I want is someone who's going to do an excellent job. So
Mm.
I wish more people knew about his strengths in order to push him in that continuing direction.
Yeah, yeah. Oh goodness, I wish my representative had that strength. I have Brad Schneider, unfortunately. So rest in peace, me on that front. Yeah. What was your decision-making process for revamping your main YouTube channel into your political channel? I know for me, I made them into separate ones because I didn't want to overlap them, but I found that idea really creative. So what was your thinking process behind it?
Oh, thank you. I very much, my biggest worry when I first launched is I'm a nobody, I'm a long shot. Who is going to pay attention to this? So my thinking was very much, what is the biggest platform I currently have? How can I get the most eyeballs on this? What is a headline I can create right away? And makeup YouTuber turns political candidate, um, I think is attention grabbing
Hmm.
in itself. And I I wish our politics wasn't so much about like who can get the most clicks, who can get the most headlines. Like I wish it was more about who has the best ideas, but also we're in a time when your ideas are only going to be listened to if you can get attention. So it was
Hmm.
very much a attempted strategic thing. And I did later receive a very, very sweet comment. I even screenshotted it, so I could keep it later of someone saying that they had
Oh.
followed me since I was on talking about beauty on YouTube. And even back then they saw my political bent and that's what they remembered most about me. So that this was in their mind, very logical progression. So
Oh my
I
goodness,
was
that's
very
beautiful. I love that.
so I
Um,
have always been this way.
I've been that way to my personal friends, but I can't say actual activism up until about a year ago. I was, well, pun intended, very active in it.
There. I mean, I definitely wouldn't say I was doing a lot of true activist work. It was more just kind of I care about politics, so it would bleed into my content either way. I do remember there was a very brief moment where a few people, very few in my comment section, not in the broader internet, were calling me the bread tube beauty guru. And I was like, that's very of a time, but I will wear it with pride just because I was willing to talk about it at all.
Yeah, yeah, I've noticed that myself when I have a gaming YouTube channel and I was analyzing Halo Reach and specifically, and I'm like, I can't not mention because one of the storytelling strengths of it compared to other Halos, all Halos, the Covenant's trying to kill off humanity, but in Reach they show them glassing the planet and stuff like that. And I immediately was like, I have to connect that to what's going on in Gaza right now, the actual destruction of the land and stuff like that. So oh goodness, totally relate on that front.
Yeah, and I find other things, analysis of other things much more interesting when they do connect to politics in a way, because I very much believe everything is political because politics are how we decide to live together. And I think pretending that, especially art, like video games definitely fall under art, is apolitical, is a strategic political choice in itself. So I think that makes analysis and discussion of these things much stronger and much more enjoyable in my opinion.
Likewise, 100% agree. What U.S. House race or races in Illinois are you keeping your eye on the most?
Ooh, the ninth district with Kat Abaguzale and Daniel Biss,
Hmm.
who like meeting Kat Abaguzale is what inspired me to run. So I have I do have my preference, but I have met both of them. They are both truly lovely people who I think are in it for the right reasons. And I love that the problem seems to be there are too many good options in that race rather than what I feel like so many races are is like both of them kind of suck,
Yeah.
but I guess this one's better. So I've been again getting a lot of hope from that race, and whichever candidate wins, it's gonna be a win for us, the American people.
Mm. Yeah, it's a fun problem to have too many good progressive candidates in a seat. I mean, between Cat, like Simmons, I believe, Bushra, just there's Daniel. There's so many really good people in that seat. It's like an overabundance, and I hope, fingers crossed, every seat gets to at least be a little bit like that because
Yeah,
that's the goal at least. What risk
absolutely.
does the Democratic Party as a whole run by letting themselves get outflanked by Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene on an anti-war stance, at least in rhetoric?
I mean, I feel like it is the same risk that has been hurting the Democratic Party basically my entire life is it's like they don't want to stand for something. It's like they don't want to take a risk of having an idea because it might be unpopular and they temper before they I was watching the latest Even More News podcast about the Mamdani race, and they were talking about how it feels like Democrats compromise and temper before they make it to the table. So then they have to compromise even more rather than saying, like, no, this is my stance. This is what I want because they fear not being able to fully deliver rather than realizing the, the, you need to sell people on the far pitch. And then when you compromise a little bit to make it more practical, you're still getting what you want and moving in that direction. And then you need to be able to communicate with people. Yeah, we didn't do the really far thing, but look at all the things we still got done. And I feel like literally every issue, including anti-war, Republicans will go out there and say something. And I'm very scared that Democrats will not learn the right lessons from these recent um, elections. And I just want someone to say something. As much as
Mm.
the it's cringe to reference Hamilton, that line about Jefferson has beliefs, Burr has none. Republicans have beliefs, Democrats have none. Like, have some beliefs.
100%. Yeah. Uh, what
Even
would
if
your number one non-mainstream news source suggestion be for fellow progressives?
Belle of the Ranch, Belle of the Ranch is, in my opinion, it's my number one favorite news source. I think it's a YouTube channel that is very well researched. It is very good at just giving the information in a straightforward way, even though like I know what her political beliefs are. She doesn't try to hide the political beliefs of the channel, but she's very like, here is the news, here is what it means. And then sometimes at the end, it'll be like, and kind of here's my thoughts, but it's this very clear, very back to basics. I know what's going on without the clickbait, screaming for attention, but with good analysis. Like if you are someone who has conservative relatives in your area who are reachable, are sane, but maybe don't have some great news sources, it's a great one to even give your conservative relatives because there are conservatives that watch your channel and go, I disagree with you, but I like that you just give me the facts. So I cannot extol the virtues of the Belle of the Ranch channel enough. And like she's a Southern girl who was in the military, so again, she appeals to people who disagree with her.
Hmm.
So
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
I will geek and gush about that channel for as long as you'll let me.
Uh, Number one piece of advice to fellow progressives looking to run for Congress.
Okay, my brain processed that as number one pizza advice. I am so sorry. So I was like, ooh, what is good pizza? So sorry. Piece of
I'd have a
advice
lot of
for
limited
fellow.
options as a vegan, unfortunately.
Oh, I mean, I think the most controversial thing I'm going to say on this podcast is I am a big fan of pineapple on pizza.
Mm.
So, but piece of advice for progressives. My my less practical one is like go for it. There is only good that can come of it, even having not made it on the ballot. I still feel like pressuring Jonathan Jackson to be better was worth my time. The events I held in local businesses to help my local economy, the food drive I held, the friends I made, the connections to organizations that I want to continue working with. Like there were all these good things. So like go for it. Only good things can come out of it. Um, the more practical advice I would have is give yourself enough time to prepare to take time off work because I think that is the number one thing that really kneecapped my campaign is I couldn't afford to even be like let me take a week off here and there to focus on campaigning when I really needed to. If I had given myself a longer runway, I could have probably saved up more money. I could have uh, saved up PTO and really tried to, even if I could have gotten myself in a financial position where I only needed to work part-time instead of full-time, which is deeply unfortunate, but it's one of the ways our system very much does reward the wealthy in
Mhm.
that they can full-time run for office. But if you can find a way to not be working full-time, it the more time you can dedicate to it, the better.
Mhm. Actually, in question nine builds off a little bit of what you said there. Why is mutual aid important for everyone who's a part of the forming coalition against Trump?
Because we need to show that we mean what we say. Because Trump came into office on a populist message that he didn't mean. And I think for so long, everyone in politics has not really meant what they've said. So it hasn't registered to people of like, oh, well, I shouldn't believe this guy in particular because he is the most liar. He's the biggest liar we have versus well, politicians lie. Everyone lies. No one like means it when they say that they care about the people. Democrats don't care. Republicans don't care. My life gets worse either way. So by focusing mutual aid and being like, I'm helping you now. The proof is in the pudding. You are seeing me do, do the things I say I want to do. Like I will always be proud that my biggest campaign event that was the most elaborate, cost the most money was a food drive. And I got to film that TikTok at the end of the night of me filling that food pantry and being like, this is active good right now. That is not money going to consultants in the political class. This is my community.
100%. Literally my words exactly. I couldn't have worded better myself. I have the same thoughts when I see Kat like doing all the mutually and a couple other events. I've seen Dylan start digging into it and Morgan Coghill up here in District 10. And I'm like, yeah, you go. That's what's
Yeah.
up. It's really nice to see. And then
Yeah.
last
And
but not,
I will
go
say,
ahead.
oh,
No,
I
you go
will
ahead.
say, I all credit to Kat. Like these were not my original ideas. I literally was inspired to run because I looked at her and went, I want to vote for someone like that. No one like that's running here. I guess I got to do it. So I fully just tried to be like, okay, she said it was cool if people stole her campaign strategy. I'm gonna do that. So full credit to Kat for inspiring me. I don't want people thinking this was my brilliant idea.
Yeah, yeah. Someone, oh gosh, growing up with a lot more friends in the like lefty political space that were so left they like kind of gave up on electoralism. Mutual aid was like the big thing. So to see that like creeping into more electoral spaces, I'm like, yes, perfect. This
Oh,
is what we need.
okay, one kind of funny story on the campaign trail that I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of a bitch in this situation. This is bad on me, but I sometimes cannot control my impulse, run my mouth. I was out there gathering signatures, and one guy looked at me and he said, "Oh, I don't vote." And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, that's embarrassing," and kept walking. But I'm just like, it is the least you can do. Like the harm reduction is so important. I think it is deeply embarrassing when people on the left are like, "Well, I don't vote." I'm like, I embarrassing. So I
Mm.
should not have said that to his face, but
Yeah, yeah. I've had discussions with actually a couple of people up here, like especially with the last House race where it was just Schneider and Karras, and they were both very similar on a lot of issues, actually, because Karras tried to portray himself as a more like moderate Republican and stuff like that to try and win up here. They were like, "What's the point of even showing up?" And then, of course, the local Lake County board seat just got won by a Republican for the second time in a row, and both times it's been less than 500 votes, so it's really close. And don't get me wrong, I understand the apathy. I mean, on the House level, it's gone 30 points to Schneider almost last time, so I can understand the apathy for that. But the down ballot stuff matters too. Like, if anything, on a day to day thing, that impacts you more. The news headlines just make you overemphasize the importance of the federal. Not to say that, as we're finding out, unfortunately, through force, the federal government has a lot of say, but typically on a day to day basis, they're not the first people or the only people or even the majority of people you're going to interact with.
yeah, and it's like you you get to tell the government what to do. Don't you want to take that opportunity? I know it's limited choices and primaries are very important and I hope they're more robust in the future. I hope that's what we're learning. But I cannot think of something more punk rock than being like the government has to listen to me legally. So I'm gonna go cast my ballot. I have voted in every single election I have ever been um eligible to vote in, no matter how small. I remember one time I showed up and it was one question. There was literally only one person running, but I still showed up because I was like, I'm keeping my streak going.
You go. Yeah, you're way ahead of me on that front. I only this year have started showing up in the in-between years. Growing up since 18, I would show up for the every presidential year and the midterms, but the in-between ones I didn't do. But to be fair, I also wasn't very knowledgeable on those
Yeah,
races. And in hindsight, all those were pretty decisive. So my single vote wouldn't have changed it. So I could forgive myself. But then I think, oh, that Lake County seat, and how is that going to be in the future? I'm like, okay, this is definitely something I have to add to my toolbox for sure.
absolutely. And like I said, a lot of times it's very much a I want to tell the government what the fuck to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah, a lot of people have fought real hard in history to earn that right, so embrace it.
Exactly.
And then last
Like
but not
my
least, oh, go ahead, because I only have one
oh,
question left.
okay, yeah. And my Meemaw, my mom's mom, was always very politically engaged as as a person. Like I remember growing up when she would take over, we would be sitting there watching C-SPAN, and she had very strong, like literally the last thing I ever talked to my Mima about before she passed was her telling me, listen to Rachel Maddow. She has a good head on her shoulders. And like I remember seeing how she felt when Hillary Clinton was running and her just going like telling me how important it was that women could vote. And like she was telling me this would not have happened. And that, yeah. So I very much value those rights because I have seen the difference it could make in a woman's life.
That warms my damn heart so much. I love it. Last but not least, as a former video game industry person, I ask all my guests this: favorite video game either at the moment and or of all time.
Oh, okay. I was wrong about the pineapple on pizza being my most controversial take.
What
My
are you gonna
my
say? Dino
all-time
Crisis 3?
my all-time favorite video game is League of Legends.
Mm.
I'm not really a gamer, but I love League of Legends and I haven't played it in a hot minute, but there was a time when I was playing that all the time. It was my favorite thing. It's the only video game I've ever really, really gotten into, and I still have a deep love of it. I just have a laptop that is a complete potato and will not. But I would love to get back into playing League of Legends. I guess right now, the most recent video game I played at all and have really enjoyed is Date Everything. Very fun uh, game, but I unfortunately am not much of a gamer. I do not
Uh,
have the skills, and I'm very impressed by anyone who is good at video games.
that's fair. If you ever want a suggestion, I have so many. I'm one of those hyper dweebs that's kept a list of every single game I've played since I got into video games, like as a little kid. So that list is like over 300 games at this point. And they're all
Oh,
ranked in order. They've got console and all of that. It's so nerdy. The top two are probably Halo 2, which was my favorite since I had a favorite up till about half a year ago. And now my favorite is Daggerfall, which is mind bending because Daggerfall came out in 1996 and I was born in 1997. So
really?
that's fascinating to think that my favorite Elder Scrolls game came out before I was born. But
I
that's the
mean, it's
magic of
awesome.
a good team, I guess.
I do have a deep love for a video game I have never played, Pathologic.
Hmm.
Because I have watched so many YouTube video essay deep dives into that game. And I have very strong opinions on it, even though again, I have never played this game and I have no intention of playing this game. But I can yap about that one for hours and enjoy people talking about it for hours. And then the video game that I've most wanted to play, but have never had a console that can like run it is Fallout New Vegas. And I don't know why, because I know almost nothing about the game, but there's something about that game that I'm like, I just really want to play that one. I think it's
Well,
because I love Las Vegas and I've been multiple times and just love the area. So I'm like, I love something Vegasy.
but oh gosh, if we ever hang out, I could totally let you borrow my console. I have I Fallout No Vegas. I'm actually gonna go play it after this.
So you would say that that is a game worth like playing, getting into, that I'd probably like. It is worth
The
it.
only forewarnings, the science skill is not as useful as you instinctually think it will be. And at first, it's going to be a little bit rough as far as difficulty, adjusting to the combat. But once you get the hang of it, it's really smooth, a lot of freedom. And as a writer in particular, the storytelling is really powerful. I like games that can be open world enough that they could be a playground for all sorts of people of all sorts of political dispositions. But if you still look at it as a whole, there's still like a message. Like it's very open world RPG. You could go ahead and side with Caesar's Legion, the very clearly evil bad guys that are enslaving people, killing people, and stuff like that. But you could also go ahead and go with like Yes Man or the NCR or Mr. House and like help people and stuff like that. I think that, for me at least, makes that decision to like help the good guys more powerful. If it's a linear
Yeah.
game and you always are gonna like side with one side and the other side's the bad guys, it's not as impactful. But like knowing other people are going to play this game and have a completely antithetical like understanding of its politics and morals, that makes that choice more meaningful for me. And I wish other games implemented that because I think it breeds
Yeah.
healthy discussion and it makes people. I've seen a lot of discussions about that game to where people would never, they're so far apart politically, they would never speak like real life without it just being insults towards each other. But now that they're talking about it in video game factions, you know, Caesar's Legion and the NCR, they're actually willing to discuss these ideas of like the benefits of a republic or the consequences of like voting at certain times and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah.
And this perfectly ties back to what we were talking to earlier about art being political and art
Mm.
and analysis of art being more robust because of the political discussion. So I have a question for you because I think you would appreciate this maybe. So are you into comic books? And if you are, what are your favorite comics and who are some of your favorite characters? So
I
three-part
actually
question.
am generally not into comic books, but there's one exception. For whatever reason, my Yaya, which is a grandma in Greek, she got me a Spider-Man comic and I liked it. So I do have somewhere in a box somewhere all the Spider-Man comics, not all of them, but like at least 100 issues of it. And yeah, Stanley, I remember I watched even like Stanley's Superhumans and stuff on TV. So that was probably my favorite comic, Spider-Man, The Amazing
Oh,
Spider-Man.
oh, that's awesome. Great choice. I'm newer to comics myself, so I have just been annoying everybody I know, being like, "Do you like comics? Will you talk about this with me?" Um, so I was like, "Fellow nerd, take
Mm,
my shot."
yeah, highly recommend. It's a classic, but it's a good. You should actually check those out if you haven't. They're real good.
Good to know. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Well, this is lovely having you on. Never be a stranger. You're always a friend here, and thanks for being on.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I look forward to seeing where your podcast goes and getting to be like someday. I was one of the early guests on that super popular, successful podcast. I was number 4.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You too.